Why is communication important? The average supervisor spends about 80% of his or her time communicating, 10% in writing, 15% reading, 30% speaking, 45% listening. It's not easy to communicate effectively. It takes work, effort, and it takes practice. What is communication? Communication is a process in which information flows from a source to a receiver and back. What would you say are the advantages or disadvantages of email over other types of communication? Anybody?
You can't see the person.
So is it an advantage or disadvantage?
That's a disadvantage.
Another disadvantage, you cannot hear the tone of the person.
Also, you don't know the emotion behind the word.
That, again, the tone, exactly, Cindy. So basically, the sender sends the message, he encodes, goes through the medium, the receiver decodes, and then we've got the feedback. It does eliminate some noise, but again, you cannot see the face or read the body language. You cannot, and it's email, like a written communication of any kind, you cannot read or feel the tone of that person. Again, Cindy, the emotion, correct. There's something called email netiquette. I know that sounds funny, but netiquette is the name given to a code of behavior for people who send and receive email messages. Upon first hearing this term, it could suggest that the electronic equivalent of a set of fussy rules that tell you, for example, which fork to use with your salad course, or the way to unfold your napkin, whether it's lunch or dinner. But netiquette does not consist of a set of rigid rules, and that can sometimes be a problem, in my opinion. It encourages you to adopt a certain attitude of thoughtfulness, to be more considerate to the people you write to protect the privacy of their email addresses, and that's very important, and to avoid burdening them with messages they do not need to see. And netiquette is more than a matter of good manners. It will help you create messages that are more likely to achieve the results you want. People consider email to be a very informal means of communication, and therefore they assume that email messages do not have to comply with normal standards of written English. This assumption is reflected all too often in hastily written messages that are badly organized or written with errors in spelling, grammar, usage, and style. If there were a model for this style of email composition, it would be anything goes. The anything goes approach may be acceptable in one's personal email messages, but business communications are business communications no matter how they are sent. Email, fax, snail mail, etc. In short, if you're writing as an individual on your own behalf, you can be as casual and sloppy as you wish. But when you write email messages on behalf of the organization you work for, you must observe all the standards that apply to other forms of business communication. I think one thing I'd like to say here, and I'm hoping that everybody does, but one basic thing that you should have set up is that your spell check is ready to go on your email. And it's not going to be the catch-all of everything, but it will certainly filter out some problem areas when you send an email. But again, you really need to look at emails as business communication. When is it appropriate to send an email? When clarifying agreements that have already been reached? Yes. When a fast turnaround time is needed? Yes. When members of a team are working virtually? Yes. When the subject is negative, controversial, or requires additional dialogue? No. Why do people send bombs or flame emails? When should you consider not hitting the send button? Well, bombs and flame emails would be one of the reasons. But if it takes you a while to write the email because you're being careful to use proper wording, then you want to recheck it. Or if you have said something in an email that you would not want anyone else but the intended recipient to see, then you might want to recheck it. The person that you're sending the email to does not trust you or has a poor relationship with you. Again, recheck. The subject is negative, controversial, or requires additional dialogue. Now, I have a habit of having my email set up so that when I hit the send button, it doesn't automatically send. So that if I'm thinking about something a couple minutes later, I can go back and say, oh, I'm so glad I didn't send it. I forgot to attach this. And then I have to manually send it. And I don't know, that works for me. I don't know if it'll work for everybody, but it's helped me catch a lot of errors before I've actually hit the nuclear button, as I call it. Email do's and don'ts. Remember that anything you say in an email can potentially be seen by many others besides those to whom you send the email to. Whoever you send an email to, you send it off to many more people. You want to send brief messages to announce non-controversial information or to confirm something that's already been agreed to. Don't send lengthy announcements or messages about something that is best handled through face-to-face discussion or debate. Do not give negative feedback via email. Copy your boss on important messages that would be relevant to them. Don't leave your boss and significant members of your team out of the loop. And don't go over your boss's head even though you have access to the personal email address of his or her boss. Always keep a hard copy of important documents for the record. Now what I do, because we have a certain amount of information that we can keep on the server, in my personal folders, I create what I call a sent log. So I go in every few months and download everything from what's actually on the server as from my sent logs into my personal sent log. So I never lose track of anything. That's how I keep the hard copy. You also want to clarify important details verbally. Don't rely on email communication on important matters. The person you're writing might be out of town. And the other thing that you can do, that when you send an email and you really want to be sure that somebody's opened it and received it, in the options section, you can check notification so that you will be notified that A, the person received it, or you can check that B, the person has opened it. And I think for important things, that might be something that you should do. Be sure to include a descriptive subject header for the email, and I tell you, I do it 99% of the time, but sometimes I fail. You just forget that subject header, but it's very important when people are looking for important emails, especially if you're like Bill and have a whole slew in your incoming box. Don't abuse the high importance.
Can I say something on that one too?
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes people will just respond, and of course it just keeps the header that was in there, and they may be, they may be changing the topic or focusing on a specific thing, but all you see is that old header from the original header. So you get these emails that look pretty, like nothing going on. You just start making assumptions about what's in there, but you have to read the email to actually see that, oh, wait, they changed the topic. They just never changed the header. So I know I do that, but that's something people will have to watch, I think.
You know what, I try to remember that sometimes because I do know how that can get all, coagulated in your email. I think the other thing that some people don't remember is that they have a tendency to forward, and then that means every single person is copied on it, and they really only want to just reply. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in other words, you just keep getting in the groove of getting all these emails, and you're already out of the loop, and you're done with it. You saw what you needed, but yet you're still going to keep getting them. So these are all, it's just a matter of, again, the etiquette. To keep in mind that this is just like if you were sending out a letter, and it's a quick way to get a response or a quick way to send a message, but it's an important part of communication, and that's why we can't just become complacent because it's easy or because we feel safe and secure, because then we will tend to get sloppy. Okay, and we also want to make sure that we don't type the message or portions of the message in all caps. This is considered the equivalent of shouting, and it really is. That's just part of the etiquette. And to minimize the risk of accidentally sending a message before it's ready to be sent, do not enter anything into the toolbox until you're completely satisfied with the email and you've checked it for errors. not done that. And again, I also have a delay on my send. And always remember that email messages you write in the course of doing your job belong to your organization and might one day be cited as part of a legal action. In other words, anything that anybody sends on behalf of Epicenter Development Group is the property of Epicenter Development Group. Spot the flamer, or I wish I hadn't sent that. And this is one of the reasons we need to be careful. Does anybody have any feedback?
Nope. Are you gonna do the
So I just want to be sure that you all check and make sure you are set up for spell check. And if you'd like to know how to delay outgoing messages, I can help you with that. If you're not already set up for that, or if you feel you don't need it, that's fine. But like I said, it's helped me out quite a few times.
All right. I think we're going to be exiting here. Got someone coming in the room to get set up here for the next meeting.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything else, Robin?
No, that's it, Mark.
All right. Thank you.
Do you still have the Spot the Flamer exercises on there, Robin?
No.
No. Were they originally on there?
No.
Oh. All right then. I'm going to end the recording. Spot the problem. So here's the first one. Dear Mr. Smith, it was a pleasure talking to you yesterday. Can you see it, everyone?
Yeah, are you recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pleasure talking with you yesterday. I hope I was able to adequately respond to all the items. If there's anything I missed or additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me directly. Again, thank you for this opportunity to serve your organization's needs. Sincerely, Amy B. Jones, Vice President. What do you think? Good or bad?
Good.
Good. Good email. There we go. Next one. Dear Ms. Smith, it's a pleasure presenting. Well, I don't have to read it. What do you guys think?
Bad.
And why is it bad?
You don't put smiley faces in a professional business email.
Yeah, not considered professional. Smiley faces. Next one.
Well, right off the bat, it's got a lot of typos. Companies is plural, not possessive. There's a number missing in the 7 digits, and that's just at a close glance.
That's
Opportunities themselves.
Yeah, email not proofed adequately.
And insured should be assured.
Okay, how about this one?
No. Because
Wow, you certainly...
Sorry, Bill, you're talking to me. You want me to back off and let everyone else answer? I think maybe I should. But I feel like I'm on a game show.
So, you guys think it's good?
No.
No, too informal. Next one. What do you think?
Bad.
No, it's bad.
Yeah, there's negative stuff, and there's a lot of caps here, you know. It's a flamer. And if you're going to have this discussion, it'd be better to have it, you know, in person or at least over the phone, but not through an email. Because you never know who they're going to send this to, you know. How about this one?
It's the same as the first one.
Looks the same as the first one. Oh, there's no subject.
No subject header. Yeah. Yeah, that's, how about this one?
an appropriate or inaccurate subject header?
Recycling of subject header. So there was an original email for upcoming meeting, and then all the person did was do a respond. So they didn't update the subject; they just kept our upcoming meeting header. So you would want to put in "Thank you for meeting" or something in the subject. How about this one? What do you think, Robin?
Oh, me, I think it's too confusing. I think this is something that should be discussed on the phone.
Yeah, it's too much stuff. That would be the concern, is that you're putting in too much stuff in here. It'd be better to talk to the person about it. It needs to be explained. How about this one?
Bill, I'm not coming forward. I'm letting everyone else do it because you know my answer.
I know.
She didn't provide contact information. She's assuming that he's going to find it somewhere.
No title or contact information, right? Very good. All right. So, recommendations. So here's some general recommendations for email, people that use email or companies that use email. One is to consider adopting an email use policy, which we do have an email use policy at Epicenter. Secondly, consider company training on the effective use of email, which is why we're doing this training today, is that, you know, it's just like anything else. It's business writing, and it's important that we're all, you know, doing the same thing collectively, that there's a certain way, a right way and a wrong way to do emails. Consider ways to promote a company culture, use email and other communication media effectively. So again, you know, having a company culture that is intolerant of flamers, that has policies for ensuring email quality, and coaches that so sends out an email that has spelling errors, or it's not an appropriate email, or it's too informal, then I think it's important for the receiver to give that feedback to the person sending the email. And by the same token, the person sending the email needs to not take it, you know, be open to it. Don't sit there and say, well, why are you criticizing me? I think we need to hold each other accountable when we send out emails that are really not, you know, done of high quality and that maybe aren't appropriate. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes, but can we ask a question here?
Yeah.
Okay, what about if you're not actually sending out an email to a client, but you're just sending an email to another employee? What is your take on that, depending on what the subject is?
I personally think that any business emails, we should strive to make them, you know, professional. So if you send something out and it's got all kinds of spelling issues, then I think you're not really that concerned about getting me something that's, you know, right. You just kind of threw it together. And I think it's easy to lower the bar when you're used to not proofing your emails and stuff. So in my mind, whenever you send out an email, you should really be treating it like a document. That doesn't mean, yeah, that doesn't mean spend 20 minutes reviewing it, but that means be very, you know, use the same level of care when you send it out, no matter who it's going to. And there are times that you guys send me emails and then I forward them on to a client. Now, if there's problems below, I have to sit there and, you know, fix them. You know, so you never really know what's going to happen to that email. Sometimes I get emails, and instead of retyping the whole email, if it's a nice email, I'll just forward it on. I don't have to worry about it. So I would take the stand that it's always better to do your best for every email. Any questions? Anybody?
Nope.
So for the people that are on the call, you feel comfortable holding each other accountable for emails? Including me?
No. No. You, yes.
But But you know that if you send me an email, I'm going to try to hold you accountable to it. If I see a lot of things on there that I say, geez, you really didn't spell check it, or I mean, I do try to give people feedback when I see things that are, that maybe you reused a header and it's like, well, or no header. That's one of my big ones. That should be a conversation with the person and say, look, I got this email from you, and again, I think we're as strong as we hold each other accountable to be. So I would encourage all of you to take that on. And if it's me, certainly let me know, because, I want to know if I'm sending something out, because sometimes I even reuse email. So if I have an email that's wrong, I'd like to know.
Well, yeah, and Bill, I would be the first one to tell you, because I do like to point out when you have something wrong, and I'm being joking. But it's kind of a sticky situation because nobody wants to be the email police. So I don't know how Sarah or Chris or Cindy would feel that every time I see something they've sent, I go back and I'm slapping their hands with a ruler. I mean,
well, let's ask them. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, Robin, like I told Bill the last time he pointed something out in an email that I did, if you don't point it out, I don't know I did it.
okay, then
I can't fix it if I don't know I did it. So I don't have a
well,
problem.
yes, okay, good.
Anybody else want to weigh in on that?
I have a problem with people holding me accountable for my emails, but I am uncomfortable holding other people accountable for emails such as Bill and Mark. I'm not comfortable with that.
You're not comfortable holding me accountable?
No.
Oh.
Not I mean, basically because the amount of emails that you write on any given situation, when you're writing, 7 documents within a 12-hour period of time, and I see 2, words that are maybe misspelled or, something was left off of it, I'm not comfortable making that an issue and bringing it up to you.
That's okay, Cindy, send it to me. I'll take care of it.
Well,
okay.
I'm being real. I mean, same thing with Mark. I'm not comfortable holding him accountable for his email.
No,
Well,
you know what? I have to agree with you, Cindy. I don't feel comfortable.
Well, do what do as much as you can, okay?
All right.
Are you okay with me holding you accountable for your emails?
Absolutely.
Me? Yeah.
Anybody and everybody, I look at it as, the same thing that Sarah said. Plus, I think that you guys have a lot more experience at documentation of emails, and an email where the computer is concerned or certain things.